welcome to Baking with Bernadette. Today I'm going to be making brownies with Snickers inside. I'm using a modified version of Nestle Toll House's Chewy brownies. And now for the ingredients. Now the ingredients to make these brownies that you see right here. 1 bowl with the dry ingredients. You need the flour, cocoa powder, which can be cocoa powder like this, just a store brand, or from the recipe I got it from, Nestle Toll House cocoa powder. Anytime you use cocoa powder, you're going to want to put coffee. I'm using the Folgers Classic Roast coffee, and then just the coffee grains from it. Oh, it smells delicious. And also that goes with the dry ingredients is baking powder. And lastly, some salt. I just use the iodized salt, store brand. And that's all that goes inside a medium bowl. And then what's in the mixer is the sugar along with water, and butter melted is going to go in there. I use unsalted butter. Anytime the recipe requires salt, you want to use unsalted butter. And then, of course, this recipe, you're going to want eggs. You only need 5 large ones or 4 extra large ones. And this gets stirred in with the eggs is vanilla extract. I use imitation vanilla. And you can use pecans, and I cut them up, or you can get them already chopped, or there's also walnuts if you prefer walnuts. And then I also put in semi-sweet chocolate chips in there. Spray a nice coat on the 13 by 9 inch pan, and those are all the ingredients. So let's get started baking. To start my brownies, I set my oven to 350. I'm going to weigh my dry ingredients so you can see. Let's zero this out. There we go. I'm going to start with my flour. And I need 2 2/3 cups of flour. Just go like that. Dip it in there, and I do push it down, even though they say not to, because I put extra of everything. But you'll see the weight once I'm done. There you go. And that comes out to 396 grams. And I'm going to zero this out. I need 1.5 cups of cocoa powder. You see, it's really hard. I'm not going to be able to really get too much out. This is the 3rd cup. I'm not going to be able to get it out that way. So I just use my 1/4 cup. And this one, I'll just go like that. And it's like a little tiny mountain on there. Comes out to 121 grams of cocoa powder. Because I put so much cocoa powder, you put coffee to bring out that chocolate flavor. I'm putting 3 teaspoons. Let me see, it's just a little bit over. So it's just a scoop. That's 3 grams. It's another 3 grams. Should be about. So that'll be about 9 grams of the coffee for what I put in for the cocoa powder. It's okay to be a little bit under, a little bit over when it comes to the coffee. For my baking powder, I put 1.5 teaspoons. So this is 1 teaspoon. You see, I just scoop it out, shake it a little bit. I don't try to make sure it's even like that. It's up to you. I don't get it exact, but that's why I'm doing the weight, so that you can see. All right. A little shake. that's 7 grams of the baking powder. And because I know I'm going to put extra sugar in there, I just have it leveled out just a tad. I'm not going to scrape it off because you'll see I'm going to put extra sugar. About 4 grams of the salt. Right? And that is everything that goes in the bowl for the dry ingredients. So take this off the scale and just mix it around. Make sure the cocoa powder and the flour is all mixed in. This is waiting for me. I'm going to put it in later. And now for my sugar and my wet ingredients. I'm going to put that directly into here. I need 3 cups and a 1/3 cup sugar. So I do like a little mountain. A little shake. Just 1. Using the 1/3 cup. Do like a little mountain. And this will come out just fine whether you put the amount of sugar that is for the recipe where you scrape it off, or like the little mountain that I do. I just put extra of everything. You know, it's still gonna mix right as long as you put it in the order that it should be. This is 828 grams of sugar, which the water is going to be 4 tablespoons of water, room temp. It could be from the sink or it can be from like a water bottle. It doesn't matter. 1, 4. There we go. 61 milliliters of water. That is a 1.5 cups. So that would be 3 of these sticks here. 1.5 minutes and it's nice and melted on high, 100% power. And just to make sure everything's mixed the way it should be, get my spatula and I scrape the bottom. Because this one isn't a fancy one. It doesn't always get the sides or the bottom, so I just like to get it before I dump in my dry ingredients. Just so I don't spill it, it doesn't splash everywhere. I put my dry ingredients in right now. You can put all of it in right away. I'm only going to put in half. So I put in drops of it because this is really thick and it doesn't spread easily. So I'm kind of pushing it down. Not really hard, just enough to get it so it can flatten into the shape that I want it into. And then it's about halfway here in this pan. Try to flatten it out a little bit. However you have it. If I have like a big old dip there, it's not gonna flatten itself out. It's gonna stay like that. So you do have to get it into the shape that you want it into. Whoa. You don't have to do this step, but I'm doing this step because my family likes it like this, with something extra. You can put chocolate, any kind of chocolate you want in there, Snickers or Hershey's, almond kisses, or just put all of the brownie mix in there. And I like to put these in the freezer because when you touch it, your hands, you don't realize how hot they are. It can start melting it sooner on the outside. I'm gonna try to fit as many as I can in here. It's about a Snickers space. Fit one more in the end right there. All right. And this is all the Snickers. Now you put that other half on top in drops, nice big drops. See how it doesn't want to move the way you want it to. All right, so just like the first layer, you just push it down, light pressure to shape it into a nice even layer. Push it down, don't want any air bubbles like how that one is right there. Fill in all the gaps. Now it's pretty much flat, so I'm just spreading it lightly to make sure it's flat. See how that's a little dip there? But I want it to look nice afterwards, so to where everything looks somewhat flat. Make sure my edges are good. Let me see here. Try to get it angled, somewhat flat, not perfect. If you want, you can sprinkle some of the chocolate chips on here. Brownie is pretty much all chocolatey. Some more is not going to hurt. Well, not hurt too much. Pace yourself. I did say guilt-filled goodies. There we go. Is there openings? There you go. All right. Streamy delicious. Now this is ready to go in the oven. You see, I do have a tiny bit of openings, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna go in the oven at 350 for an hour. And you do not want to cover it with aluminum foil because it'll just touch the top and it'll get stuck on top. So this has to be uncovered. About 36 minutes left. Just want to show a little bit of it. Here goes the brownies right out of the oven. You can see that crisp edge. And that's what you're looking for. The crisp edge around there. And these are going to come out still gooey in the center. Now here's the sides where it's pulling away from it. Whatever wasn't pulling away, it was right on it. And that means it's undercooked. I'll get you a shot underneath. That it's all pulled away from the glass. So it means it's cooked. You don't want to cut into it right away because it's still cooking as it's cooling down. And that center is still going to be gooey afterwards. So I'll cut into it once it's completely cooled down. Take 1.5 to 2 hours. It does take a pretty long time. And you want to do it when it's completely cooled, not when it feels warm, unless you can't wait. Just cover this with a paper towel. That way the heat can still escape from it. You know, you don't want to enclose it, create steam. This is completely cooled down. Before I covered it, I made sure it was cool, even in the center, the middle here, before I covered it for the night. So this is the next morning. The way that I bake it, the outer edge is nice and crisp, and the center is still gooey, chewy. And you saw, kind of did like a saw-like up and down motion. That way it didn't get all broken up. Here we go. Stop shaking? Yeah, stop shaking. Hello and welcome to Baking with wow, my own name. Brownies with Snickers.